Hello everyone. Now let's try something. The other day, you might remember me trying to do these crosshairs and grid lines so that we separate the page into different sections and so that we can use more space inside the same space to position things in certain places, like this lady on the bench and this Buddha statue and the house and everything and the power station. Some things are inside, some things are on the crosshairs, some things are outside. Now, in this picture, we divided the page into essentially 9 parts, kind of like a tuk-tuk board. One square over here, one square over here, square, square, and then one large area in the middle. So it's 9 sections, but one is large, taking up a lot more space than the others. And these have only 1/8 or 1/16 the size of this. You could fit a lot more of these squares into this area. Now, also we talked about how potentially a page would have a lot of grid lines. You can divide these into different sections. So let's try something where we have less lines on the page, but also more lines. What does that mean? How does that make sense? All right, let's see. Let's start by dividing the page into 2. All right. So if you do this, you're going to have theoretically one line right down the middle. And if you could bend the page again, I'm using one hand because I'm holding the camera with the other. Essentially, you would have a page with 4 lines or 2 lines on it and 4 squares on the page, right? Now, how's this going to work? We're going to position, all right, so what's your favorite princess? What's your favorite superhero? This is copied off a map from Kingdom Hearts. All right, so you can divide the page into several things. You can have a junction in the middle of the page where you have, as you can see now, this little, that's a post board. What do you call these things? Signboard showing you where to go. So one road leads to Rapunzel's tower where she has her hair. Snow White could be living with the 7 dwarfs in this little hole. And this could be a desert that has Aladdin and Princess Jasmine's castle. Now, you could also, theoretically bend again the page from midsection to corner to create. And if you go, so potentially you could divide this space into another 4. Now, the difference is, where's my original page? Let's compare the 9 with the 4. Now, obviously, when you have 3 lines on the page, so this, you would go like this. You would, you could divide it in this way. That would give you 3 lines. And then you would do the other lines over here. So essentially this would be your 9 square one, and this would be your 4 square one. Now, as you can see, one of these squares is much larger than, now I have made the middle square in the previous one larger than one of these squares. That's just because I played with the proportions to adjust the 9 squares to my suiting. But in a page with only 4 squares, you actually get a lot more space inside one of these squares than you would get in any of the 9 squares spread equally across a page, which gives you more lines inside the space. Because let's take this picture for example. Now, you could do it with the 7 dwarves, or you could have Sleeping Beauty hidden away somewhere here. There's no road to her, and there's a lot of inactivity going on here. Now, with the 7 dwarves, each dwarf could represent a different character, a different So you got the grumpy one, the sleepy one, Doc. They all have their personalities. So it's really easy to play with the Seven Dwarfs thing. There's less things over here, but you could fill this out with. I'm just gonna go with Jasmine's thing. You could have something like a tiger over here. You could have something like a lamp over here. You could have the evil place away from the good place. You could have a bird in the sky. You could play around with this large area so that you could stuff more and more things in. All right, so yeah, that's